Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 22 of DannieBSpeaks, the podcast. As always, thank you all for tuning in to the show. Of course, we got a lot of mess to talk about. It's all pretty much mess. Let's just keep it real. But anyway, a lot came up this past week, and I wasn't able to do another show as I promised. And I'm actually releasing episode 22 almost 2 weeks away from episode 21. And I kind of like that. I do want to get back on track doing the weekly podcast. But I think what I may do, if there's nothing really going on within a week, I think I'd get on here and just talk about random stuff or whatever, like I do within the podcast as well, but just have that be the feature of that show, that particular show, I should say. But unless stuff starts going down and getting crazier than it already is, be prepared for a weekly regular podcast again. But until then, I'll probably just do little filler episodes in between the regular podcast format that I've been doing. So as always, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So let's go ahead and get bullshit out the way. Well, it's all pretty much bullshit. Well, not really. I do have some nice things to talk about this week. However, if you haven't seen When They See Us yet, be mentally prepared. I still haven't got through the whole 4 episodes. I think I'm just on episode 2 and I'm just beyond pissed, but I need to finish it. You know, normally I'll sit up here and I'll binge something on Netflix that I love, and I love the production of it. Of course, I don't love what it stands for. Of course, about the Central Park 5. And I'm not going to talk about the episode because I'm going to get pissed and get thrown off and everything. But I just want to talk about, if you haven't seen it and you feel that you're mentally prepared to watch it, please watch it because it is important. And I wish the people who actually need to see this, and I'm sure y'all know who I mean, would watch it. But most likely they're not going to, because those are people who don't want to face the truth about what happens in this country. Not what happened, but what's still happening. Because what happened back then in 1989 with those 5 young men, actually it's boys, children, is still happening today. So there's that. But there's been some positive things that have come out of this. May not be positive for some, but there has been a lot of backlash from the prosecutors who prosecuted these young gentlemen. And the thing about it was, first of all, let me say this. Linda Fairstein, whatever her name is, I think she was the head prosecutor. And she was portrayed by actress Felicity Huffman. And we know Felicity has her little problems right now, but Felicity is a bomb actress. You can't take that away from her. She just did something real stupid, in her personal life, which a lot of us do, but, anyway, we're not going to go there. But she brilliantly portrayed Linda Fairstein. And of course, Linda Fairstein came back after the backlash of, how she was portrayed and everything, and said it wasn't true. And, she wasn't like that and all this other stuff. But she still believes that these young men are guilty, or I don't even know if they believe that they're guilty, like her, a couple other people that were involved, Donald Trump's punk ass, because he still won't, he took out a full-page ad back in the day, he called for these young men to die and everything, and it's typical. It's definitely typical. However, Linda Fairstein is denying her portrayal by Felicity Huffman in this. Ava DuVernay, who of course produced and directed this, well, I don't know if she produced and directed, but anyway, she's the one that brought it to us. She's the one that put all this together, got the brilliant cast together, all that stuff. But anyway, she said that she reached out to Linda Fairstein and, all these other fools. What's his name? Cyrus Vance. He's the Manhattan district attorney right now, but he was working behind the scenes back then. Elizabeth Lederer, which we're going to get to her. I guess that's how you pronounce her last name. Ava said that she reached out to all these people and no one wanted to, they were probably just like, oh, what's done is done. And, they're out of jail. Why are people still talking about it? They probably had that mentality. It's just crazy. But Linda Fairstein, after practicing law all these years now, she was the prosecutor, as I mentioned. She was the lead prosecutor who prosecuted this case. She has been dropped from many boards, asked to resign, I guess you could say. And whatever she's doing currently, I don't know if she's still practicing law somewhere or whatever, but pretty much they're like, we don't need your services anymore. But she had become a New York Times best-selling author as well, doing mainly writing mystery novels and things like that. And she's very successful at it. But however, her publisher has dropped her as well from the way that she acted during this. And it just goes to show you that karma does hit some people. Eventually, it will catch up to you. And I don't understand why people still don't believe that. And it's mainly these arrogant people and narcissists who just think that they can just treat anybody the way they want to and do whatever they want to. And just because they're not having to face consequences at that moment, they will eventually. You just have to sit back and wait. Some of us may not be around anymore when karma hits certain people. We may not even hear about it, but that's a whole nother topic as well. So she's been getting the boot. And then Elizabeth Lederer, who I mentioned earlier, she was also a prosecutor in the Central Park 5 case. Now, even though Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance is refusing to fire her as the Assistant District Attorney of Manhattan, she has been asked to resign from Columbia Law School, and she did. So she resigned from Columbia Law School, rightfully so. I mean, how are you going to be teaching people law, which you have all these years already? How are you going to be doing this when you're just as dirty as you want to? But I mean, I'm sure that is all throughout law schools or just wherever. So yeah, they are just getting. Now let me backtrack real quick about Elizabeth Lederer and her resignation from Columbia Law School. The law students were the main ones that were on campus like, okay, she got to go. And you know who made the biggest noise? It was the black law students who were the ones like, oh no, girl. I mean, it was other races and nationalities as well who were upset with her and, disgusted, I should say. But, black folks, we get shit done. That's just how it is, how it's always been and how it will be. And not only from the Columbia Law students, but of course, Black Twitter got her together. The Twitter universe, the social media networking period, got her together and basically gave her the Linda Fairstein treatment, which she deserves. And there's that. So things can happen to people eventually who deserve it to happen to them. I'm not going to say bad. I'm not going to say good, whatever, but just know what you do to other people will come back. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Girl, I have been waiting for this day. Now, I thought that I was going to be able to do this, at the beginning of the year, because there were rumors last year that you were planning on resigning New Year's Eve, that you weren't going into the new year as press secretary, head press secretary, whatever the hell you were. So if you don't know, Sarah Sanders has resigned from her position as chief White House press secretary. I guess that was her official title. Remember, she took over for Sean Spicer. I think that was his name, whatever. However, and I'm surprised, Trump gave her a lot of kudos and, wished her the best of luck. He didn't say anything bad about her. And only in America can a white woman lie to all of us every single day, can belittle people, can just do all these dirty things, and then be considering a run for governor of her home state of Arkansas. Now, Sarah has no political experience, which, who does? Your lying ass is seriously... And the sad thing is she has a chance of winning in Arkansas. So Arkansas, WTF? Dear Arkansas, don't y'all do it. This is just completely and totally white privilege at its finest. I'm sorry, but it is... Well, actually, I'm not sorry. It is what it is. I just don't understand how this lying bat can get on TV. Well, and then that's the thing too. She wasn't even doing her job towards the end of her run, or whatever the heck you want to call it, because they hadn't had a press conference or press briefing, I should say, since March, I think February or March of this year. And there's supposed to be one every day. So, they're just doing whatever the heck they want to. It's just one thing, and I'm all for, changing things up, breaking a little bit of tradition or whatever, but they're doing it just out of spite. That's what it is. But she got on TV every day in front of these professional journalists, in front of America, and lied constantly, even admitted that she lied when she was put under oath. I mean, everyone who's been subpoenaed to testify or whatever for all this mess that's going on has admitted to lying. Hope Hicks said that she told little white lies for Donald Trump. I mean, get out of here. Seriously. But Sarah Sanders, girl, and I mean, you may end up being Governor Huckabee Sanders. You know, your father was governor of Arkansas at one time with his crooked ass. I mean, it's possible. It can happen. It's just comical to me. It is so comical to me that that's all you can do is just laugh now. Seriously, that is all you can do is laugh from trying to avoid getting so pissed off. And that's another reason why I don't really follow all this stuff anymore. I just see it pops up on my phone, then I'll read the article about it. However, back to the trash bag. This is a woman who I'm sure she slept like a baby at night, knowing that she had deceived, lied to, corrupted, everything negative that you can think about, that she did this to people. She did this to us. And now she wants to continue her political career running for governor. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't get it. You know, it's just crazy how this stuff can happen. We can't be surprised. That's the thing. We cannot be surprised that this stuff happens, that they can get away with it, then further their careers. I don't understand. I hope that they air or that I can watch somewhere if she does end up winning. If she does end up running and winning the Republican nominee for governor of Arkansas, I cannot wait until her debates because she can't handle it. She's another one like Trump. Now, she's a little quicker on her toes because she's probably a little smarter than Trump, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. Bye, girl. And we also got Skeletor, a.k.a. Kellyanne Conway, also known as the #1 Trump cult member. That's what she is. Now, with Kellyanne Conway, I don't know if people really remember. Now, I've always watched cable news. You know, that's just something that I've always liked to watch. And before Kellyanne Conway joined the Trump campaign back in 2000, did she join in 16? Yeah, she had to have joined in 16 because in 2015, she was still running his ass down. But she was a pollster. And what people don't know, pollsters are pretty much the people that you see on news. You're doing the commentating and stuff like that. And they go around and they talk about the different... Basically, pretty much, in a nutshell, pollsters are there to try to persuade people from voting against a particular person. I guess that's the best way to put it in some kind of way, and maybe I'm completely off, but that is my understanding of what a pollster is. But anyway, she was a pollster who despised Trump. She was a Democrat for years, but of course, like so many of them, they went to the Republican side after Barack Obama won the presidency in 2008. Bye, girl. So anyway, she was one of them, and so that says a lot about her character right there, and has the nerve to be married to a Filipino man, but we know people can deal with other nationalities except for black folks. But anyway, Kellyanne Conway was in the hot seat this past week, and people were wanting her, and not just people, but a professional publication in an office within the United States government was calling for Kellyanne Conway's resignation because she had violated the Hatch Act. So let me briefly tell you what the Hatch Act is. Now, I've heard of it before, and I knew what it stood for, but I didn't know the details, of how it started and everything like that. But anyway, it's the Hatch Act of 1939. Its official name is an act to prevent pernicious political activities. The Hatch Act of 1939 is a United States federal law whose main provision prohibits employees in the executive branch of the federal government, which that is Trump's employees, the administration, all them, except for the president, vice president, and certain designated high-level officials from engaging in forms of political activity. The law went into effect on August 2nd, 1939, and was named after Senator Carl Hatch of New Mexico, and it was most recently amended in 2012. So there have been past amendments made to the the Hatch Act, but the most recent one, as I mentioned just a little while ago, went into effect December 28, 2012, and it modified the penalties under, and this was signed by President Barack Obama when he was still in office, of course, 2012, but it modified the penalties under the Hatch Act to allow for disciplinary actions in addition to removal for federal employees. This amendment also clarified the applicability to the District of Columbia of provisions that cover state and local governments, limited to the prohibition on state and local employees running for elective office to employees whose salary is paid completely by federal loans or grants. So pretty much this means that if you're a federal government employee on any level, but particularly the executive office, then you cannot go around and pretty much badmouth your political adversaries. You're not supposed to do that. It's a federal violation. So of course she does it, and of course Trump applauds it, and she gets to keep her job. I mean, shocker there. But here's my thing. Hasn't the entire White House staff at one point or another violated this and many other things? I mean, I'm just saying. So the thing about Kellyanne Conway is she's very smart. She's very smart. She's very strategic. And as I mentioned before, she knows exactly what she's doing because, as I mentioned earlier, she despised Trump, which I'm sure she still does. And she has turned into the number one cheerleader, the number one Trump cult member, all this other stuff. And it's basically just for her benefit. Because if y'all know, her husband hates Trump. He's hated him from the beginning and he still hates him now. He shades him all the time on Twitter. I mean, just anytime he can get any interviews or anything like that. So for her to keep this marriage going, she still has to have some hate for Trump, and she needs to keep her job. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, she's too smart and knowledgeable in law to know what's going on. And she's only doing this like so many other people do in this administration, and so many other Republicans are doing, is just acting out and just acting any kind of way they want to, just being very just aggressive and just boisterous, and just it's ridiculous. But they do it because they can. She did this because she can, and she knew nothing was going to happen. That's what it is. But Trump said he's not getting rid of her, even though she violated this federal act, and it's not the first time. She even kind of mocked it last year when she was accused of the same thing, like around, I think it was when Roy Moore, it was the November elections of last year, the big one that the Democrats were trying to win back the House and Senate. And it was mainly like surrounding Roy Moore. And that's another one that I'm going to get into in a second. So, let me just talk about Roy Moore real quick because I don't have much to say. He's planning on running for senator again, even with these charges against him, even with all this negativity surrounding him for messing with young girls back in the day. And it probably just wasn't back in the day. I'm sure he was doing this, but says a lot. He's in Alabama, so that says another thing right there. Back to Kellyanne real quick. She knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. She was hired to do a job, and she's doing it to the fullest. She was hired to be an ass, pretty much. And she's doing a wonderful job at it. So it's just crazy how she went from someone who hated Trump, despised Trump, talked about him like a dog on national TV. And then in the next breath, she's in his administration. She turned from campaign manager to whatever the hell she is now, but it's some high position. I don't know. I truly believe that Trump has a lot of stuff on a lot of people. I truly believe this. This can't just be about party and wanting to keep the Republicans in charge. It can't be just about that. Why so many people who despised Trump from the beginning now are Team Trump and have jumped on this cult-like train that is going on. But anyway, keeping with the BS, and speaking of cults, a cult rally, Klan rally, whatever, all these rallies that Trump has been doing, which he's starting to do his campaign rallies again, and, it's just filled with white supremacists and white nationalists and just ignorant people, period, obvious Trump supporters. And he could not wait to get back out there and do this again, because this is what he lives for. This is his thing right here, is getting out there and just speaking, and he loves the admiration. He loves the people cheering for him. That's all he wants, and that's what he gets at these rallies. So he was like a sissy in a boys' camp. He could not wait to get back out there and do these rallies again. But he may want to pay the bill for past rallies that he's done, where these venues and cities are saying that he has not paid the bill for the rally. Now, they had to pay for these rallies. They had had to pay for it. Doesn't matter if you're the president or whatever. You have to pay to use their space. It's still a business. And someone who's a quote unquote businessman should know that, right? Okay. But yeah, so he's not paying his bill, but we know Trump doesn't pay bills. He just, waits and tries to claim bankruptcy. So whatever. I seriously hate y'all. Can we just talk about that 2020 interview this past Sunday that featured y'all's president and George Stephanopoulos asking him just questions that he is never prepared for except for to throw you all a real quick lie? And I mean, I sat there and counted all the lies he told within, I don't even know how long was it, like maybe a scene or whatever, because that's what we're doing. What all this is, it's just a reality show. I mean, he's telling people about certain things that involve like possibly attacking another country like crazy ass Iran to stay tuned, like it's the continuation, like this part 1 and part 2 of his reality show, which is bullshit in the White House. However, that 2020 interview, I wasn't going to watch it, but my grandmother was watching it. So I said, you know what? I was like, I'll watch it. It's only on for an hour. And let me tell you something. That was he cannot do anything off script. What you see on when he's on. What I mean is when he's off script, when he's just being thrown questions at him. He doesn't like answering questions, you can tell. And if you watched it, did you peep that part where they were in the Oval Office and it's when George was drilling him with those questions, that they kept talking about, like, would you, what was it mainly like, would you take, like if Russia or another country wanted to give you information about your opponent, would you take it? And of course he said something stupid because it wasn't written down for him. He said what he really meant. And someone in the crew coughed or sneezed or something. I think they just coughed. And he got pissed over that. And I mean, just the audacity, wanted to record it, wanted to stop and record again. I'm like, bruh, I mean, you can just really tell that he was pissed because he was getting asked these questions and he wasn't prepared. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't understand, but that interview was a mess. It was just a mess. And at first I was, he was calm at first. It's just like any other speech that he does before he has to go off script. He's calm at first. He's doing his thing. I mean, he's the laid back Donald Trump that we're all used to seeing all these years. And then he turns into the asshole that he's become, or he always was an asshole, but y'all know what I mean. I don't know if the 2020 interview is on demand on the ABC app, but just catch bits and pieces of it. It may even be on ABC's YouTube page. I don't know, but it was just ridiculous. And I said I wasn't going to watch anything else with him or featuring him in it again until the presidential debates next year. But girl, somebody get this fool out of here. Oh my gosh. He's going to kill us. We're all just going to die. And that's that. So we're back to Oprah and her good Judy Gayle and her new good Judy, Ava DuVernay. And I'm not really going to get on Ava about this one because I got where she was coming from compared to what Oprah and Gayle had to say about this. But I just thought it was funny because Oprah and Gayle and Ava DuVernay, they do not want to be called auntie. The term auntie is a term of endearment within the Black culture, within the LGBTQ culture. When you call somebody auntie, mother, grandmother, whatever, that's a term of endearment, cousin, whatever, it's just that you love this person. This person has some kind of influence on you. Like I have Auntie Mariah, Auntie Gladys. Patti LaBelle's my godmother though. So, that's a different one. Cousin Dion, because Dion has auntie qualities, but she just reminds me of that crazy cousin who just doesn't give a damn, and that's what she's given, and I love her for it. However, they do not want to be called your auntie. They feel that auntie should be for people who are in their 80s. Okay. Now, I'm 39 and I've been an auntie since I was 30. Hello. Now maybe for them because they're in their 60s, Oprah and Gayle, they're in their 60s. So yeah, they're aunts most likely are going to be in their 80s. I get it. However, you know better than that. They want to be called other things. Now, Ava, I guess she was kind of saying off of what Oprah and Gail were saying, that Auntie kind of seems just a little old. Now, she doesn't mind being called your cousin, sis, your good girlfriend, whatever. She doesn't mind terms like that. But Auntie, they just said that just sounds old. Y'all need to get over yourselves. Now, Oprah and Gail, y'all better be lucky that y'all are still getting called these terms by us, within the Black community and the LGBTQ community. And y'all are still on thin ice for these little shenanigans, and of course, Gail probably would be okay with somebody calling her Auntie Gail, which I don't even know why Gail would get that title anyway, but whatever. Gail's a successful journalist, has been for years, but she's not legendary or iconic like Oprah is, or Ava will be, Gladys Knight, people like that who have those titles, who we give those affectionate titles to. Gail, for years, a lot of people didn't even know that she was a journalist. They didn't know that's how her and Oprah met, was both of them being journalists, and they've been friends ever since. But for a while, let's just keep it real. Gail was just known as Oprah's best friend. That's all that she was really known for. Impossible. Okay, I'm not going to go there. But get over yourselves. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being called Auntie. I mean, my baby brother, he was an uncle at, how old was he? I don't even know how old he was. He was probably like 12, 13 when he first became an uncle. I mean, it is what it is, I mean, okay, whatever. But yeah, so that's how they're feeling about that. Wendy Williams is out here still killing the game. She's out here letting y'all know a little something about how she feels about everything going on. And she's heard what all y'all have been saying all these years, myself included. But Wendy is giving us everything. And she may or may not have a new boo, and she got a cute young tender too. I mean, he has a record, he has a background on him, but okay. So she's been seen around Los Angeles when she's there with this little boo thing, who, come to find out, I think he's only like 29 and she's 54, I'm sure. I think that's what it is. But that's how you do it. You've been in this relationship all these years. You want to let people know that you still got it. So you go out there and you get you a young tender. She obviously doesn't mind being a sugar mama, and I ain't mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all, and I'm not mad at him. Wendy has been hanging out with Blac Chyna. That's her homegirl now. Blac Chyna was on her show not too long ago. Wendy said that she wanted to hang out with her. So they've been hanging out, and that's where she met her new boo. His name is Mark Tomlin. He's originally from Maryland. Then he moved to North Carolina, where he racked up on a lot of charges there for theft and just a whole bunch of just shady girl material type things that he was doing. He was out here scheming and scamming like the girls. And then now he's out in Los Angeles, and they were saying that he was like a real estate broker or something like that. I guess that's what his Facebook profile said. But come to find out, he actually is a quote unquote fashion designer. I think he's just out here hustling. I truly do. I mean, but it is what it is. I'm not mad at neither one of them. Y'all go out here, y'all do y'all's thing. Wendy, you get your groove back and you do the damn thing. So we're witnessing Usher's midlife crisis at 40 years old. And, it is what it is. I think I hit an early midlife crisis when I was like 32. That's when I cut all my hair off. And I just didn't give a dang. I just wanted to change whatever. And I love it. I don't care what anybody has to say about me cutting off all that pretty hair I had. It's just hair. I still have pretty hair. It will grow back. Anyway, Usher has a new hairstyle, and it's almost rockish looking, like it's bald. And then he has like all this hair sticking up and everything. Then he has like a long tattoo, like from his, what is this called? The back of his head, like the crown, all the way down like the nape of his back. That's how it goes down. And it's badass, don't get me wrong. I'm all about a good tattoo advocate to the bone. But Usher, bruh, okay, whatever. People were clowning him. Some people liked it. I like it. I like it. It's different. It's edgy. We're just used to seeing, now Usher has done some different hairstyles, but we're just basically used to seeing him just go back and forth between 2 or 3 different styles. This is something totally different. Now, remember, what was it, a month or so ago when Usher came out here with his what was it? Did he have like a bob or something? Like, it was something like where his hair and he was swinging it back and forth. It wasn't a bob. I'm sorry. I'm not a hair girl, nothing like that. Anyway, he was doing something crazy with his hair and it was like a pompadour. That's what it was. He had it all relaxed and everything like that. Pressed, permed, and curled for the gods. And now it just looks like he just ran out of relaxer and it's just sticking straight up. That's just what it looks like now. Now, I hadn't seen it from the front, but from the back, I saw the picture, of course, because that's where the tattoo is. But I ain't mad at you, Usher. You can have any kind of look you want. Of course, we don't care about that. Put out good Usher music. That's all I'm waiting for. You can have all the midlife crises you want. You can have crises. Is that a word? Well, anyway, crises, whatever. Do what you need to do, boo, to survive out here in these streets. But I'm here for all of it. Now, who knew this? Tempest Bledsoe and Daryl Bell. Now, a lot of people, of course, Tempest's name may jump out at people because it's not a very common name. Of course, she was Vanessa Huxtable from The Cosby Show. We watched her grow up. And Daryl Bell, of course, played Ron on A Different World. And he was in School Days, Homeboys from Outer Space. Neither one of them have really been in the spotlight too much. But did you know that they were not only a couple? Now, I knew they were a couple. I knew they were together because I read an article a few years ago about them being a couple, but I didn't know that they had been together for 22 years. And they're not legally married, but their relationship is much longer than many in this business, in their business, I should say. Now, people will say that they aren't in the limelight anymore and ain't nobody checking for them, whatever. You know how people do with old has-beens or whatever, which these two are legends. They were on legendary shows, especially Tempest. Tempest was Vanessa Huxtable. She was a Huxtable, so there's that. But they say that their relationship gets stronger every year, and it stays strong because they don't put their business out there. They're together, but you're not going to know their tea. That's just pretty much what it comes down to. Now, I need to look and see if they have any kids. I don't ever remember Tempest being pregnant, unless if she was, they just kept that real low key too. Good for them. I'm very happy for Tempest and Daryl. They, I don't know if they're ever going to get married. After 22 years, things are working out just fine. Why would you? But that's a 22-year relationship for two people who are in the business. They may not be as active. They may not be as popular as they had been in the past, but they're still in the business. They still have connections. They still work around the business, if it's behind the scenes or whatever. But shout out to them. Congratulations on 22 years of love and whatever. So got an R. Kelly update. Now, this happened a couple weeks ago, but R. Kelly has been charged with 11 more counts of basically diddling with minor girls. And sis, it's a wrap. It is a complete and total wrap for you. I don't know. Okay. But however, his former manager is being indicted for terroristic threats. I don't understand. Okay. So many people in R. Kelly's camp are as guilty, not as guilty, but they're guilty and complicit for knowing what was going on all these years. And this one right here is a piece of work. His name is Henry James Mason. Henry James Mason is R. Kelly's former manager, and he is being indicted for terroristic threats for threatening Joycelyn Savage's dad. Now, remember, Joycelyn is, I always want to call her Jocelyn, that's why I kind of paused. But anyway, Joycelyn, that's her name. She is one of R. Kelly's concubines. He has two main ones now, and they were the two that were on there being a fool, after his interview with Gail, and then Gail interviewed the two of them. And I think that she wasn't the one that was talking as much. The other girl, I can't remember what her name is, but they always talk about Joycelyn. I don't know, maybe she was even spoke of a lot in the documentary that they did. Or was it even, do you even consider that a documentary that's surviving R. Kelly? But anyway, Joycelyn, I guess she may be the HBIC. That's what I'm thinking. She's in charge of the girls, but R. Kelly, of course, is in charge of her. So anyway, yeah, she was one of the ones that embarrassed herself on national TV. But her father, who is still determined to get his daughter out of that situation, regardless if she's grown or not. He doesn't care. He wants to get his daughter out of that situation, and who wouldn't want to? But her father, Tim Savage, said that he was threatened by R. Kelly's former manager, Henry James Mason, that he will fucking kill him. And that's a quote. He also threatened to kill the entire Savage family if they don't quit trying to reach out to Joycelyn. I don't care how old the person is. How are you going to threaten somebody with death for them trying to reach out, at least just check on their own child? I don't care. But yeah, so he's being indicted on terroristic threats. I guess, his arrogant ass, it was documented. And I didn't really read the whole article to see how it was documented, but it was proven one way or the other, either from a text message or a voicemail, something like that, where it was him that left these terroristic threats, or made these terroristic threats, I should say. But, R. Kelly on 11 counts, his former manager being indicted for terroristic threats. Y'all just need to give it up. It's enough. All right, so that's enough with the Negro news that's been going on, and that doesn't just pertain to Black people. Let's just keep it real. However, I have been still going through and getting questions for people mainly about my weight loss and how things are going, and I'm going to give an update. Probably next podcast I'll do that. But this question has been sitting out there for a while, and I actually got a couple other questions regarding this too, but they want to know my workout routine, what I did to get in shape and what I do to stay in shape and maintain, because I haven't really been losing that much. I'm going to keep it honest. How I pretty much am maintaining this weight loss, this huge weight loss that I had over the last almost 2 years. It's crazy. A couple months. Actually pretty much a month and a half away. It's going to be 2 years. That's crazy. But I got to get back on the ball. I haven't even lost anywhere near where I want to get to my at least halfway goal before my birthday in December. So that's my 40th birthday. So I just at least wanted to be that much closer to my overall weight loss goal. But anyway, let's get back to the workout routine now. What I suggest for people to do, because in the beginning, it depends on it depends on how big you are. You need to really watch what you do. Now, when I started gaining a lot of weight, I would still go to the gym and work out because I still had the energy to do it. It wasn't as strong as it is now. I still, had the desire to try to lose weight. And being an athlete, I just pretty much am always just going hard. And you can't do that. What I suggest for people to do when you're first starting out, just go walking. That's it. Do a little bit at a time until you get your endurance up. It's my favorite thing to do. I can clear my mind, listen to music, be in my own world. If I'm not walking with somebody else, I should say. But usually I just go for a walk around my neighborhood. When I'm at work in the office, I think I talked about this before, where I park is not far from a couple of the main entrances from where it will be closer to my desk or area where I sit, I should say, whatever. But what I do is I walk pretty much around the building first thing in the morning when I get there. And so I'm on the complete total opposite side of the building. And then I walk all the way to the other side of the building and then go up the elevator to my desk. So that's what I highly suggest. And people may not look at walking as working out, but it is. Don't try to do too much because you can still hurt yourself. You can still pass out, anything like that from just walking if you're not in shape, if your endurance is not up, if your wind is not up. Now, before you get to, say you want to get into cardio, say you're at a point where you're just like, okay, I want to do more than walking. I want to do some cardio, some light cardio. Definitely. You can do treadmill, elliptical. I have an exercise bike or stationary bike, whatever you want to call it. I'm old school, so I call it an exercise bike. But I have one in my bedroom, and it's right in front of my TV. And what I do is every night I get on there, even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes. I can do more, but I just don't, because I've been walking all day, and it's just something just to get my blood flowing, I guess, before I go to bed. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't even know if that's a thing. But I think the easiest thing to do to get your endurance going, even before the treadmill and the elliptical, I would say the elliptical for last. I would definitely get on an exercise bike any way you can. If you can only do, and you can do this before your surgery, before you really start losing a lot of weight, you can do an exercise bike. Now, like I tell people, get on there for maybe if you can just do 2 minutes before you get winded or your knees start hurting or something like that, do that. Just do 2 minutes. And then gradually go up to 3 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 7 minutes, then 10 minutes. You just had to make these increments as you keep on going, because if you just stay at one point, you're not really going to change anything when it comes to your endurance or anything like that. And of course, before you do any of this, try to stretch as much as you can. Now, I know for a lot of the big people, once you get down on that floor, it's hard to get back up, or it takes a lot of pressure. And by the time you get up, you're tired. I get it. You can do stretches up against the wall. You can do stretches where you bend over, touch your toes, anything where you're stretching out your muscles that you're going to be using. And what you mainly want to stretch out when you're getting into these type of things are your leg, knees, those muscles right there. Now, with my workout routine, what I do is I hit the heavy bag, I lift weights, do cardio, I play basketball. I want to go swimming. I didn't do swimming last year because I was nervous to be out there, but I definitely want to go swimming this summer. Swimming is actually very good. Anything in water is very good for you, even when you're very much overweight. Water aerobics, anything like that is good for you because the water helps you move easier. It makes you move lighter. So even if you get in the water and walk around the shallow end, walk back and forth in the shallow end, you're good. You can do that, and you're working out your leg muscles because it is taking a little bit more to walk in the water, but because you're in the water, it feels lighter, if that makes sense. But yeah, I pretty much just do everything now. I'm really focusing right now on toning up my arms. And when I go to the doctor next month, I want to discuss having skin removal surgery for my stomach. That's really about it. And if not, then I just have to get more serious with the sit-ups and things like that, more on cardio, all of that fun stuff. But I'll mention it again. When starting out, walk. When going through weight loss, walk. After you get to a comfortable weight, keep walking. When you get to your goal weight or close to your goal weight, or your endurance is back, your air is back, your air circulating fine, keep walking. Walking is the easiest thing you can do. It's free. You don't have to join a gym for it. Walking really does wonders. Eventually, if you really want to pump it, if you really want to do more, then you're going to have to go somewhere and do cardio, unless you have something at home that you like, a treadmill, exercise bike, elliptical machine, whatever, the rowing machine. If you have something like that at home, that's even better. But I go to the gym at my job for that type of stuff. And lastly, you have to make it fun. Even when I was younger and in great shape, I hated working out. I just wanted to get out there and play basketball. I just wanted to get out there and just run, do whatever. As you get older, you have to make it fun for yourself. You can challenge yourself, which, like for me, I'm very competitive and hard on myself. Other people I could give a damn about, competing with them with anything. But for myself, I'm very competitive within myself. So I set goals for me to beat what I did, or to set this goal or whatever. Find what you like to do. If you love swimming, do that. I love basketball, so I get out there and I just shoot around. It brings me back to my basketball days, as well as it's just fun, and I'm getting a good workout. I'm getting an upper body workout, and I'm getting a full body workout when I'm shooting jumpers. Let's just say that. But you have to make it fun. You have to make it worth your while. And as I mentioned, and I'm going to keep on mentioning it, and I know y'all probably tired of me talking about it, but walking. Put on some earbuds, put on some headphones, and just get to it. That's all you got to do. If you want to walk somewhere like a park or something like that, don't go by yourself. Even men, because people are crazy as hell out here. Just try to find somebody to walk with. And if you want to go walking by yourself, if your neighborhood is pretty open and safe, that would be good. If there's a school with a track nearby, go to that. Now, you can change your diet all you want to, but you're going to have to do some kind of physical activity, and you can decipher that any kind of way you want to. Thank you all for listening to Danny B Speaks, the podcast. I truly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to listen to my show. Don't forget that you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Google Play Music, Spotify, and Stitcher. Also, don't forget to check out my blog, DannieBSpeaks.com, where I post about any and everything as well, just like over here on the podcast. You can also listen to the podcast on the blog as well. So while you're over there, you might as well just go ahead and listen to it, catch up on it. All the podcasts are on there. If you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, would like for me to endorse or promote anything or anyone, hit me up at DannieBSpeaks@gmail.com. I keep putting it out here, but it appears that the people who want to be on the podcast aren't listening to it. But anyway, I'll keep saying it. If you want to be on the podcast as a guest, as a co-host, please hit me up as well at my email, DannieBSpeaks@gmail.com. And I reply to everything. As always, have a great and productive week, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.